think you're the dog's whiskers too. Says we're live. I'm looking at Little Green. Hello there. Patricia O'Connor and Frida Reba Darcy here tonight. Is Saturday Night Live Bonsai. We are back with a vengeance. Not really a vengeance. We're kind of mellow. We're not really, I wouldn't say we're vengeful. We're just glad to be back. And we are. We have a couple little pine trees here. And one of them, or two of them, no, one of them tonight, we're going to put in a little bonsai pot and start its journey off in the bonsai vortex. And I'm Patricia O'Connor. This is my sidekick, partner in crime, Frida Reba Darcy. And we've been gone for a minute. Mostly, I did a show earlier today. I did a show last weekend, I think, or midweek. Uh, but we kind of got waylaid there for a minute. But that much I am glad. That much I am back with vengeance on. Um, I think I've got all of that pretty well behind me. As far as scarring or something, I had something happen to this side of my face. You can still just barely see it a little bit. That's the first. This is the first time I've ever been able that I've even attempted to or been able to cover it up with makeup. Up until now, from like July 4th, August 4th till now, I've been pretty much laid to waste. So, and at the same time, I knew I was sick and not in good and not in the greatest of shape. So it wasn't just like, you know, a bad rash or something. It did not feel good. Anyway, enough about that. What we have tonight is some little Japanese black pines. One, two of these we ordered in orders of 10, and we folded up and bent and made cute little trees out of. And they are sitting up here for the benefit of those who haven't been with us that long so they can see what we're up to. I know, I'll get to your part in just a second. Um, and then the other ones that are sitting here are the ones that we're going to select from. I may have already sort of selected. I've kind of got an idea in my head. And we're going to pot it up tonight in one of these cool little bonsai pots that you've seen there that I may have already, I just brought out some stuff this afternoon. And as I started framing up the shot, I started kind of looking at what was going on and what we had going on. And I think I know what I'm doing tonight. I mean, this is a live show. Uh, we're we are winging it an awful lot for what I'm comfortable with for a live show, but we're still kind of winging it a little. Uh, for starters, for those who haven't been with us, this is something that we potted up about uh, a year ago, and it's a little mame Japanese black pine, and it's gotten really swollen, big and fat uh, in amongst. Let's see if I can continue to look at the screen and see how close I can bring that in. You can kind of see, you know, we've had we've had game a little bit. Now, even smaller, well, this is one of the smallest trees that we got out of a really, really kind of pitiful, frankly, little load of 9 Japanese black pines. This was the smallest one, but it was super green. It was like the little shrunken little tiny tree that was super green going, come on, let me at them. And I just put it in this wabi sabi pot, and it has so far it's never done anything but just flourish. Tiny as it is, it's always been the little bean, the little green beacon of happiness. What you can see about this tree, even from this far off, is we have thick, dense, short needles, and then we have these long needles. The long needles were last year's that we didn't do anything with because we just repotted the guy last year. And the short ones are what's come back after we cut the candles this year. So right now they're pretty short, but a little later, we're just now at the end of August. It's the last day of August. Whenever we get into fall, I will go in, and whereas when we cut the candles on this tree last spring, earlier in the spring, we would have taken one, cut it, and then that would have been however many that is when I get in there and look. We let them all come out, and then when we get to fall, we select a cluster that have come back to replace that one, and we cut that back to two. So that little density thing you see now will get cut back. But even then, the needles, you can see where they're significantly smaller than the longer guys that are last year's needles. And that was always the point in doing the candle cutting on that. And that's not really a bad. They're probably not through growing yet. I don't want to start bragging about how small those needles are. They're probably not done growing yet. But I think that's not I can already tell that we made good gains on getting those needles smaller on that. And that is our little bean, Japanese black pine, and so that's kind of an example of what we were able to do with the 20 or so 19 or so Japanese black pines that I ordered from Etsy. I ordered 2 rounds of tins, and they came in plugs. And I would take those plugs and pot them up in little plastic pots. These say succulents because I got them from the garbage at work. Whenever something got transplanted or whenever something kicked the bucket, we would just throw all of these little pots in a bin for us for later, and then I came along and got a lot of them. So these are some of the ones. This one, this guy, and this guy are all little trees that we started from seed. Either looking at the size of these, I would say the one that I've got my eye on, this one, we started that last spring. Not this past spring, spring before last. We started that maybe the end of last year, but it hadn't been going that long. But we started this from seed. This is one of our babies, and what you can't see is that the pot is only about this full, so we've got more trunk down there to be seen. So that's a fairly long looking tree. I'm looking at this one too. And here's the thing. I bought a Ziploc baggie of Japanese black pine seeds, and this probably had a couple of hundred seeds in it, and I probably have about 100 left. In this little jar is a little Ziploc baggie, and that's still full of Japanese black pines. And what we have tonight, instead of going out and ordering 10 trees and spending $60, $70 and having them come to the door, we spent $15 for seeds, and we popped them 30 at a time. And tonight I walked out and I picked up 4 trees that we could have choose from. That we could choose from. I could have just as easily picked out 10. That is an abundance. That is an abundance of riches, for sure. And to have something that hey, be cool. To have something, all those escape roots coming out of the bottom there. Talk about your eager beaver. But to have something that looks like that is that cool. And to go, yeah, I'll get back to you in a minute, because tonight I think we're going to work on this one. I think what I would like to do is I would like to take this tree and combine it with this cascade pot. I made a cascade Japanese black pine that was full of twisties and curls and cues last year, and I really liked it. I really thought it came out nice, and it looked pretty nice. and I underpotted it. But I left the cube. It was in a plug, and I left half that plug cube. I left half that plug kind of poking up, and then put the substrate underneath it, hoping that between the two it would, it would have enough. And it did for a while, but the heat and some other issues came to, and about the time that I got a better, and all the while I thought I'll get a real cascade type pot for this, and it was already looking yellow by the time I got this pot, and I transplanted it anyway and lost it. And I think this pot deserves better than this. This is beautiful. This is a really beautiful little handmade pot from Elizabeth Cruttenden in England, and or in the UK, not necessarily. Um, and I really like the design, and I hope you're feeling that. I really love her design. I really love her aesthetics. I really love her eye. This is a very, very, come on, focus, focus, focus. Very well made, very well executed looking pot. And so I'm going to incorporate this pot and this tree. That's what we're going to do tonight. And we'll probably have to do a little bit of folding on this tree too to make all that come out the way I want to. And we'll just try to keep it, we'll just try to kind of keep it light and not get too crazy with it. But I am going to do some. So yeah, we'll start by cutting us a new piece of screen. I get my screen from our hardware store. Um, a lot of mom and pop hardware stores make screens or rescreen windows for customers, and so wherever they're going to be doing that, there will be a bin of chunks that are too small for them to just keep hanging out as window screens. Scraps. I'm talking scraps here. And it's really easy to come along and say, "Can I see your scraps?" or "Can I buy this piece of scrap?" And you can easily walk away with just a couple of dollars more, you know, a year's supply of screen. I hope I'm not killing anybody's living, but it's just too easy. It's just too easy to do that, to worry about it. If it helps anybody. Oh wow, what have we done? That was seriously tight. What did we cut with that? Wax? I don't know. Oh, I know what that is. I cut the end off of a bottle of Loctite, and that was the end of the bottle. And it almost loctited those wire cutters closed. I'll have to. I didn't want to have to work those back and forth right here because I was afraid I'd pinch my fingers or something trying to force them back and forth, which would not be fun, and I wouldn't be able to express myself on video. All right, so a little bit of quick, wire on this guy to get it going the way we want it to. Where my that'll work. No, it won't. Go with those. That's what I want to use. I have a bunch of tools laid up here. I had some laying up here from when I was working earlier, and then at the last minute I went, "Oh yeah, we're gonna need." So I'm kind of spread out, uh, like a fat lady's breakfast at the moment. I might flounder a little bit for where all my stuff is. So yeah, speaking of the fat lady's breakfast, Frida and I have just been killing it here lately. We've been slow cooking stuff and just having a big time. All right. I have almost got this down. I'm doing it, putting this screen in the bottom. Hello, Paul Kraus. How are you? They are all nice pots. These are all three. The three I have sitting up there are all three Elizabeth crew tendon pots. And I was looking at these trees earlier, and I started noticing how that one had. And I thought, that's that cascade that I need to make again. I need to make another cascade. Get this little guy here going. Let's see. How did we manage to do that? That I just found a little piece of slack wire in here. I can hang on a minute while I flounder. Okay. Um. Also, Mirai is having their auction, which is pretty exciting to see all those ponderosas and bald cypresses and some other really cool limber pines and Scots pines and some redwoods. It's always exciting to see uh, their auctions come up. That's I think started yesterday. Was it maybe yesterday? A lot of cool stuff going on this weekend, this holiday weekend. Uh, Today we started our day early with the Italian Grand Prix, qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix. So I'm going to break out my. This is my olive oil, baby oil rag. It stays pretty well coated to where I usually don't even have to break out a bottle of anything. I can just give it a good wipe down with this. And anything that looks dried out or has a little dirt mark on it or something, just clean that right up while we're here. I use when it comes to applying oil to pots, the guys over at Bonsai Q in Japan, they turned me on to the trick of just using Johnson's baby oil. You could see it was the Japanese label, but it was still Johnson and Johnson's baby oil. And when it comes to my bonsai tools, I like to use olive oil because that is food grade, and will not be cutting into anything that's living and injecting it or infecting it with some kind of with something that isn't food grade. That's the idea behind the olive oil. All right, I've got that. We have a screen in the bottom there, and we're ready. And we've got the pot looking presentable enough. I've got uh, I've got some boon mix standing by, enough boon mix standing by to do this gig. And what I still need is a um, wire to secure this. See, this was probably a scrap that was not wide enough to make a window out of, but was 4 or 5 foot long and probably cost me almost nothing. And I'll be using that as screens for a couple of years, more than you wanted to know about screens. But if that's helpful, that's helpful. Um, Excuse me. Okay, I'm gonna go in here and get some aluminum wire. I'm gonna wire this guy down in the pot with aluminum wire. We're not gonna go. We're not gonna go too nuts tonight. Okay. These are Nipex. I use these. You can. These are great. I got them at the hardware store. Um, I think they're awesome. I love my Nipex. Kind of heavy, Pat. It'll be okay. Yeah, it's okay. I hope everybody's having a good weekend here in Alameda. It was a really, really nice day. Nice holiday weekend. So far, it's been really quiet. I haven't heard the pool's been, the weather's been nice. The pool's been kind of quiet this weekend. I'm going into work on Monday just like I would normally do, except not just like I would normally do. We're gonna bail out early. We're gonna duck out early, which is so like us. It's just so like us. Um, and I don't come in quite as early. As long as I remember that, it would be like me to show up at the regular time and go, yeah, Pat, you're anyway. Yeah, so that's what's going on there. All right. So now we've got our pot. Our pot has screen in the bottom. Our pot is wired there. Our tree has been selected. It is going to be this guy. I should probably. Oh, we're okay. I don't really feel crowded. It's going to be this guy. This would be the part where I would cut this pot back to do stuff, except it's coming out of here, so there's not a lot of point. There's not a lot of point in cutting that pot back, but just to show you, you see that it's half. My finger goes halfway down, so we still have trunk that you haven't actually seen yet, and we've actually got some moves. We've got some moves to go yet that that are unscripted and unrehearsed, and we haven't done moves like this in a minute. And they will require this guy. Some of you know, for those of you who know, you know. All right, let's get a little. Might as well put a little something in there. Get that guy a little bit going there. Now, try not to poke anybody's eye out if you can help it there, Patricia. So what we do here is we give this a little squeeze on all four corners. Put our fingers over the end of it so that we can feel like we're exerting some sort of control. And there we go. It wasn't that wasn't too that wasn't too god awful. Also, it's a little harder to see because of all the white stuff that's already in there. But some of that white stuff is mycorrhiza, and which is good. Yes, I'm happy. I'm happy. There's a lot. There's a lot to be happy about here. In fact, I would say there's a lot to be happy here. Mhm. That's root. That's not root. Trying to find where this wire goes because I may. want to incorporate part of it. We have some more wiring work to do here before we get going too far also. Oh yeah, the little drum. Um, I've got this guy. Keep eating my hair. And this guy. This is probably the one you're talking about. That that is a cool. Those are just absolutely awesome. And her work is just so crispy tight. You know, everything is where it's supposed to be. Everything looks, nothing looks crooked. Nothing looks lopsided. Nothing look, it's just, I don't know. And it's like she doesn't have any accidents. Everything goes in the kiln looking, I suppose, looking all straight, and then comes out that way. I, I can see everybody wanting to have their stuff look perfect, and so you make it that way. But then you discover it comes out of the kiln warping or something. That's, I assume that that's part of the learning processes there. Uh, what I'm doing is I should be pretty happy with this all in all. There's not too many roots here that I should feel like I have to cut anything back, but they are especially cube shaped. And I am kind of trying to work that a little better than what's going on here. Okay. All right. Now, for the work that I want for this tree, I think I'm going to have to add a little. I think I'm going to have to add a little bit of wire to this to get the kind of motion that we're going to want out of this now thicker tree. So I'm going to take this piece of aluminum wire that's on here now, leave it on there, and we're going to add a piece of heavier copper on there. Uh, this will bite in before that does. So it'll go before that does. And then hopefully by that time we'll be set. If you see needles drop while I do this, don't worry about it. It took me forever to learn is that the worst thing you can do is wire down needles. You get so afraid to handle them that you end up wiring them down, and that ends up being way worse than if you would have handled them to death, actually, because when they're wired down, they're not doing the plant any good at all, and the plant is still allocating resources towards them, even though they're out of the picture. They're not doing anything for us because they're wired down, but yet the tree is still trying to allocate stuff for them. This is going to be our wire. This is going to be our Nipex. Okay. So this is our little pine. You can see we've got a good little bit of trunk here. I've got a root here I kind of need to be careful about. Where are, I need to see, looking for wire cutters. Have I any wire cutters up here? I do. Just these Nip-X. Just what needed to happen there. I'll get that. Okay. So at some point, I want to manipulate this cube somewhat to where it absolutely doesn't look like a cube anymore. But if we've got it submerged, we'll lose that without having to tear it up any more than what's necessary. And I'm not really seeing any need to uh to go handling that a whole lot, just out of hand. So what we're gonna do here is start at a good angle to this tree and start bringing this wire on around, trying to keep our dang needles out of it as we go. And already, already, this wire is this is going to be the good size wire for this job. It is going to be hard to take all the way up, but we'll be fine. Okay. Also, another good thing I might have considered would be I could have wrapped this ball, the root ball, in a cloth and had that already in substrate. I don't know that that would mean that I would be. I don't know that that would be meaning that I would be handling it any less. And I'm just trying to do the get in and get out without getting anybody too hurt. Uh, I'm raking all of these needles out of my way so I can get in here. What is that? Okay. Okay. Good. 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 Also, when you're wrapping uh, wire around a tree, kind of hard. It's kind of hard to tell my my thought process here. But what I try to do is pull the direction the wire is going. Try to pull it this way, and then very deliberate about pulling it, positioning the tree the other way so I can pull the wire the other way as I rotate the tree around. And it's better to just pull the needles up rather than wire them. If you see that you're just going to wire a bunch of them down, it's better to even lose them than to do that. But I'm still trying to see how many of these I can keep in here because I wasn't looking to prune the tree a whole lot. Okay. All right. Oh, oh. Today's video, we dropped a link to another Japanese grower, uh, Bonsai agency, and it was had to do with what we were talking about in summer watering, how certain trees can experience slowdown, or you can have a group of trees that are the same size kind of bunched together, and there might be that one that's not taking up water as fast. But you look down and see, 10 trees that need watering and water, and you don't notice for a while that that one is taking yellow, and how dangerous that can end up being for that one tree. So that's what today's show is about. And we dropped the link, like I said, from Bonsai Agency. His videos are so good. You do you do have to set up the translation, but the translation is actually, from what I've seen, the translation works really well, and the information is really good. He's a second, third generation bonsai grower who's very much into Japanese black pines. And what today's lesson was about was not necessarily black pine. It was pretty much, I think, pertains to all pines. Whenever he was talking about summer watering and how certain trees. I'm using, this is my stainless steel chopstick, and Steve at Steve's Backyard Bonsai. He and I have one thing in common. We both think that these Japanese chopsticks, stainless steel chopsticks, are the coolest things because they are. They feel good in the hand. They're excellent tools. They've been around for a long time for good reason. Uh, he uses them to rake soil. I find that I'm too abusive to use something this hard to rake soil. But speaking of abusive, I'm doing with this pine tree around this chopstick. What I did with that wire around that pine tree. And so now that little guy has just been loaded up with Cheerios and is looking to breathe. It's going, what in the hell was that, Patricia? Okay. Focus, 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 focus. What we have there is more of those little circles than you can see. I think I gave that guy about 3 reps. So in this foliage, you could see in the camera that this was going around once, but there should be 2 more of those. There it is. There's 2 more of those. And I can also get those guys tighter. All right, let's plant this tree. Oh, yeah. A little more. Let's go a little bit more. This is Boon Mix with a little bit of more perlite in it. That's good. That should be good. That was just brutal, Pat. You're just going to put the thing on a pike, for God's sakes. Okay. All right. So I like to wire down. I like wiring down my trees. I don't feel like I'm doing it. I just don't. Yeah, I don't. I don't feel like I'm doing it if I'm not wiring down my dang trees. Uh, Also, I want some of these roots to look more exposed. Only a couple of times have I not wired down trees, and I've regretted it. I got a tree, and it wasn't wired down, and I did a slip pot and didn't wire it down, and that was the only pot that's ever fallen off my bench too. Those two things. One thing I never do led to one thing that never happens. So I don't know. And those shouldn't have been related, but it was what it was, and I wasn't happy about it. Yeah. Ooh. I've got some work still to do here. Okay. I just saw an opportunity that that was an opportunity that was about to get away. Sorry. Sorry, sorry, a little change in plan. What was gonna just be my anchor wire is an opportunity to get more tree out of this. I know I saw you over here a second ago. Where are you? Where are you? Okay. All right. Yeah. Now we're gonna go right back in like that didn't happen. I'm liking this. Gotta say. Yeah, when it comes to using root rakes and stuff, I do too. I use bamboo because I know that if I, just kind of get going there, that I'm not going to lose my head and start tearing up stuff. Otherwise, this has a really good feel to it. But before I know it, I'm like flinging it. And yeah, I need to go lighter than that. For me, that's kind of why I used my weenie skewers, and that's also why I go with the bamboo. And here lately, I've gotten better at cutting chunks of bamboo so that they'll look better. I mean, not look better, but so that I can just have some good bamboo uh, tools to work with. Also, they're great if you're sitting there using something like that to clean roots on a repot, and then it comes time to anchor that, and you need a wedge or something. You can just take that chunk of bamboo and cut it in thirds and use it as a wedge, and just work that puppy all. And they're very very useful. They're just very very useful. And also, when it comes time to take you know like cutters and break down and cut strips of bamboo, that's some pretty hard wood. I mean, it is not to be sneezed at. I had some for instance, I have some bamboo planks that were blinds. Somebody threw away some bamboo blinds, and I went, hey, those are big old huge 2-inch wide chunks of giant bamboo. And when you get ready to cut those up and to make those into bamboo tools, you got to be really serious. It is way, way harder to split and cut that stuff than it would be that same size pine, oak, anything else. They're really, really hard. Yeah, pine. I mean, bamboo is it's pretty badass. All right. So we have this guy wired in. I've got some more wire on it. I think we're okay there. I should probably be cool with that and cut it back. I can cut it back more than this later. This is the this is the this is the safety first or safety third cutting on that guy. All right, so that's my leftover chunk of aluminum. That's my leftover chunk of aluminum. That's got that out of the way. So now what we're looking at is is a big old huge mess. And this guy, where are we at? We're right there. We're right there. We're gonna take that. Okay. Oh, where's my weenie skewer? Where my dang weenie skewer at? You know I have one up here. We both know I have one up here. I never not have one up here. I probably covered it up with substrate or something. Okay. Behold. So we start chopping some of this stuff in, getting it, making sure our little gaps got filled in. Our little tree is all being held up and stuff. We start chopping that in. We have a little bit more work to do on this tree yet. We haven't we haven't gotten quite there yet. I want to get my stuff in place. Now, this guy, uh, was in a regular pot. I did cut the candle on it. I cut the main candle on it. It's a matter of keeping the inner nodes tight and keeping the inner nodes tight and keeping the height low. But that wouldn't have been the same as cutting as doing candle cutting once we've started. Once it's in a bonsai pot. Now it's in a bonsai pot with from now on root restriction and the joys that will bring. Uh, and we will start working on this needle length. As for right now, that that's not that's not our thing. What is our thing is getting this to be a cascade. Right now, what we have here is a semi-formal upright with a little bit of a hangover. That's cute. Not necessarily cascade. Let's see. I'm still seeing earlier indiscretions I'm trying to take care of. I've just gotten a few more trap needles. Yeah, I'm happier with that. Now, we got to bend this guy down into cascade them. Need to put something here like, okay, like your finger. Put your finger there. Something to bend the tree, to use as a fulcrum to bend the tree over that won't kill the tree. like if I tried to use the corner of the ceramic pot to do that, ow, that wire against my finger is breaking my finger, Pat. Um, I'm trying to use something as a fulcrum now, not my finger. These are actual channel locks made from the Channel Lock Plier Company, and they are most helpful at times like this. I was able to adjust the jaw size to where they're open enough to where I can hopefully not be too over abusive to that part of the tree. While at the same time, the idea is to grab it in several pieces of copper wire without grabbing the trunk and trying to get that move. Uh, yes, success, but it opened up over here. I don't know if you can see that. The wire opened up, made a loop, kind of opened up. So it's not adding a lot of support for me right there. But that's not really killing us. All right, now, ow. All right. This was the roots that we have here, the exposed roots that we have here, where it goes into the ground. That met me halfway. I did, I could act like I planned that. Uh, Maybe after tonight, I'll act like I planned that. Just now saw the part where I have these these really cool looking roots just clawing, just like doing an eagle's claw right there into the. Oh, it looks really bold. Liking that. This little bud looks like it was a little torqued out. I think it's young and will probably forgive us. I've got the end turned up. We can probably get a little bit more growth out of that. And when we do, I'll pull this circle tighter and then add another to it. But I'm going to bring this guy in tight and try to show you as best I can without dropping it that a cascade was born. I know those needles look a little ratty. They only look a little ratty because we played oh holy hell with them. Uh, He'll love us again later. All right, that's it. We made a cool little. I've got a little bit of cleanup to do up here on the top. A little bit more substrate to add where we poured some out. After all of uh, this tree was getting fed because it hadn't had its candles cut to shorten needle size. It had its candles cut to reduce the size of the tree. In other words, we weren't trying to reduce needle size. So I'll probably go back to feeding it since it's already had a lot and was used to getting fed. Also, it's almost time to go back to feeding the other ones as soon as we get into fall. And some of the trees, the bald cypress trees, for instance, are already starting to show us some of that fall. Uh, which is nice. I'm glad to see that if I've been so busy and so crazed and not busy and crazed, but recovering and all that other stuff, that the seasons haven't seemed exactly the same to me. My trees keep me grounded. Uh, all right. That's our little cascade. That is our newly repotted new member of the bonsai vortex. That trunk coming out of the ground looks fabulous. The back buds on this guy looks like we should have a lot to work with. These spirals coming out of the ground look kind of natural and cool and canyon like, and the way it makes its dip over that side of that pot uh, looks good the way it's going there. And like I said, when this gets a little bit more length to it, I can tighten up the spirals that we've started, and this is going to be a fabulous. This is going to be a fabulous little cascade. Mame, Japanese black pine, and we started this guy from seed. In the next couple of days, I may do another one or two, as pointed out by some of our other guys. We have beautiful little pots standing by. Let's see, bald cypress staying true to their name. Yeah, our bald cypresses they're starting to get some fall colors. They're starting to get some of those rust colors to them, and I'm really enjoying. Hi, Adam, and I'm really enjoying seeing those guys. When you see just that red color that they get, it is just so beautiful. And uh, I spent all summer watching those guys go out and get fuller and fuller and fuller. And I go, I just want to clip this, and I just kind of want to clip that. And it's kind of like a mom seeing her kids' hairs get long and shaggy, and you just kind of want to go in there and, but it's like, oh, mom, leave me alone. And it is like that because I do have to leave them alone. We want them all to grow. We want them all to grow and have room to grow and do their own thing. So we get to enjoy those beautiful bright red fall rusty red iron colors, and then as soon as that's gone and it's well and truly gone, then we get to go in there with our scissors and make choices as to what stays and what goes for next year. And in that way, we get a little bit of something to do to those guys year round. And I would have to say bald cypresses are 3 or 4 things to do for about 30 or 45 minutes a year, 2 or 3 times a year. And the rest of the time it's just pure enjoyment, and they're beautiful to look at. So they are very, very tranquil trees and very tranquil to grow. But tonight has been about our little Japanese black pines, and we had a couple of good successes in the past years, like this guy and a few more outside that I didn't bring in. I just grabbed one or two. Uh, and we've had more successes. We've had some trees that came out really great that are in the back wings that I didn't bring in, but we've also had some that worked well. And as far as uh, making a good start with them, but we lost them for other reasons, heat and other things. So um, we've had a better showings in some ways than what we have to show for it. But even what we have to show for it is pretty good in the couple of years that we've been doing this. Um, I like some of the things that we've created, and we only have about maybe 65, 70 more of these probably sitting back waiting to go again with another 100 seeds ready to pop. So we can be knocking out black pines of various shapes and sizes for quite some time. Like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. Tomorrow's Sunday, September 1st. Um, September 1st, and Frida and I will be taking it pretty easy. Um, yeah, probably about like that. Um, so yeah, we might get out to and it might be a nice time to take one of these little guys here that didn't make tonight's show. This one looks really ready to go. Very, very fat trunk on this guy. For its size, it's wider at the base than the rest of them. Um, that would be a nice tree to go. Uh, so that might be something else that we get into tomorrow, manana. I appreciate you, Frida appreciates you, and thank you all so much for watching, and thank you all for hanging out for me while and checking on me while I have been a little bit under the weather. I had some problems this spring too with dizziness and vertigo, and everything that I mentioned as far as my health are concerned, all had one thing in common: on my left side, same side I had chicken pox on when I was a kid. So that was all related, and I'm glad to have gone through. It was also unnecessary. I could have just had the damn shot and not had to go through any of that. So in that way, it was sort of self-inflicted. But it's good to know what was causing all that. It's good to know that it's gone. It's good to know that we've taken care of it. And the doctors wanted me to get completely past it before they would give me a shingle shot. But then I'm going to get one. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys. Probably we'll do another show manana. What do you say? Yeah.